Every week, I provide access to authentic documents from closed archives. There is no artistic fiction here. If you're watching this, it means the material has already breached the system. We assume no responsibility for what you learn. Subscribe. Knowledge is irreversible. It had already been 100 years since I last went anywhere alone, or so it felt. And here we are, together every single day, I muttered. Fine, my wife Kate said, offended, and turned to the other side of the bed. We had been married for several years, so her abidi no longer worked on me the way they used to. Tomorrow I'll head to the woods with my camera, take a ton of shots, and then spend time editing them. I worked as a truck driver, but in my free time, I was passionate about wildlife photography. I loved driving to remote corners of our region and capturing all kinds of animals and birds. Sometimes I even managed to photograph species listed in the Red Book equivalents, protected animals. Kate never shared my hobby, and we often argued because of it. The moment I mentioned a trip, her reaction was always negative. No matter how many times I asked what the problem was, I never got a clear answer. Whatever, I thought. Let her be upset. I packed all my gear the night before. In the morning, I got into the truck and left. Kate didn't say a single word to me. This time, my route took me through a string of small towns that looked almost identical, like twins. The only differences were the colors of the house siding. The drive took nearly 3 hours. Trees, houses, and cars flashed by the window until I finally reached the trailhead. I left the truck in a small clearing and continued on foot deeper into the forest. The weather was perfect, clear and cold. I tried to walk as quietly as possible, but the snow still crunched treacherously under my boots. I planned to find a good spot, hide, and wait. Usually I avoided making noise so as not to scare the animals, but sometimes curious creatures approached me on their own. Here, though, I had to be extra careful, especially if a predator showed up. I loved all animals and often brought treats, oats and dried apples for birds, meat scraps for mammals. After walking a good distance from the road, I dropped my heavy backpack with a sigh and began setting up my hide. I waited patiently. Luckily, a hare soon hopped out right in front of me, stopping about 30 feet away. It hadn't noticed me at all. I seized the moment, snapping photo after photo and admiring the beautiful creature. In winter, their fur turns pure white after the molt that begins in September. It looked like a living stuffed toy. Honestly, I wanted so badly to reach out and touch that soft white coat. I stayed hidden a little longer, but no other animals appeared. I stood up, stretched my stiff legs, and moved deeper into the forest. Along the way, I heard a rhythmic tapping, probably a woodpecker. I scanned the branches but couldn't spot the bird. After walking another 20 minutes, I settled down again between the trees and waited. Still nothing. I decided to go even farther and try attracting birds with food. Stepping onto an open clearing, I scattered a mix of seeds and oats, then stepped back and waited. It worked. Soon chickadees and nuthatches arrived and began pecking at the feast. I photographed them eagerly. Of course, it would have been even better to see a cardinal or a nutcracker, but I had to keep wandering through the woods hoping for more. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything else. The day was ending. The sky glowed with a bright pink sunset, the sun giving its final warning that it would soon disappear behind the horizon. There was nothing I could do in the dark, so I started heading back toward the truck. About halfway there, I suddenly heard crying, more like desperate sobbing. It sounded like a child, not a baby, but not a teenager either. "Who's there?" I called out. "Daddy, help me, please," came the pitiful reply. My chest tightened. I moved toward the sound. "Where are you, kid? Don't be afraid, answer me." "I'm here." The voice was now about 100 feet away. Because of the growing twilight, I still couldn't see the child. I kept walking in the right direction until I finally spotted her. A little girl, about 5 years old, stood among the trees. She looked completely ordinary except for her clothes, which were completely wrong for the weather. She wore a light spring jacket, a red velvet beret, a knee-length skirt, tights, and shiny patent leather shoes. "What are you doing out here? Did you get lost?" She sniffled and said in a heartbreaking voice, "Mister, I got lost and can't find my way home." "Where do you live? Do you remember your address?" I asked, looking around at the endless forest. The girl shook her head. "No, I don't know. There are only trees everywhere." I thought for a moment. The responsible thing would be to take her to the truck, drive to the nearest town, and hand her over to the police. But she looked so small and scared. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Daisy." "Okay, Daisy. Here's what we'll do. I'll take you to the city, and from the police station, your mom and dad will come pick you up." Daisy's face crumpled. She covered it with her little hands and started crying again. "Mister, please don't take me to the police. I live right there, beyond the ravine," she said, pointing into the darkness. I hesitated. The snow had piled up heavily during the day, and driving the truck through the woods now would be risky. I didn't want to get stuck overnight. "All right, Daisy, show me the way." She grabbed my wrist with her tiny cold fingers, and we started walking. I asked her about her parents and how she ended up alone in the forest. It turned out her family were recluses who lived far from civilization. They had no electricity, no internet, no phones. They avoided the modern world completely. I had heard about such people, but never imagined meeting one. The sun had already set. Darkness swallowed the woods. My powerful flashlight helped, but walking through deep snow with a heavy backpack was exhausting. We circled around a small frozen pond and kept going. "Is it still far?" "We're almost there," Daisy replied. Soon, through the trees, I saw a lone wooden cabin. As we got closer, I was amazed. It looked like something from a fairy tale. Logs stacked neatly, carved shutters, a picket fence with clay pots on top, smoke curling from the chimney, and a weather vane with a metal rooster on the roof. "Daisy, what a beautiful house. I have to take a few pictures." I pulled out my camera and snapped shots from different angles. The flash helped in the dark, but I knew it would look even better in daylight. I crouched down in front of the girl. "Well, we're here. Run to your parents." "Come inside with me," she said. "They'll give you tea." Before I could answer, the front door creaked open. "Who the hell are you?" A deep, menacing voice asked from the doorway. I immediately guessed it was the father. In the darkness, I couldn't see his face clearly, but his silhouette was huge, tall and broad, like a bear. "I found your daughter in the woods. She was lost. I brought her back," I said quickly. The man ignored me for a moment and knelt down in front of Daisy. "Daughter, what happened?" "I went for a walk and got lost," she answered quietly. Only then did the man turn to me. Up close, he looked even more imposing. Long beard, clumsy, heavy gait, and an age that was hard to determine. "Come inside," he said. "Oh, no thank you. I really need to get back home. It's late." He didn't accept my refusal. "Nonsense. You're tired. Come in and rest." His voice was strangely persuasive. Against my better judgment, I stepped over the threshold. The inside of the cabin left me speechless. It was like stepping into the 19th century. No electricity, just the soft glow of kerosene lamps. A big Russian-style stove, handmade wooden furniture, clay dishes, and even an old cast-iron heating on the coals. Everything felt frozen in time. While the mother, Sylvia, bustled in the kitchen, I looked around in amazement. These people really lived completely cut off from the modern world. No phones, no internet, no connection to civilization. It was fascinating and a little unsettling. Soon a large mug of hot aromatic tea appeared in front of me. After a whole day in the freezing woods, It was exactly what I needed. I drank it slowly, feeling the warmth spread through my body. Sylvia kept bringing food to the table. "Eat, don't be shy," she said kindly. The father introduced himself. "I'm Nicholas. This is my wife, Sylvia. And you are?" "Walter." "Nice to meet you, Walter." We sat and talked. Time flew by. I glanced at my phone and realized I needed to leave immediately if I wanted to avoid another fight with Kate. "Thank you so much for everything, but I really must go. My wife is waiting." Sylvia started protesting. "It's too late. You might fall asleep at the wheel." Nicholas put a heavy hand on my shoulder. "We're not letting you go anywhere tonight. You'll stay, and we'll wake you in the morning." I felt a sudden wave of strange fatigue. My head began to spin. The last thought before everything went black was that maybe I shouldn't have drunk that tea. I don't know how long I was unconscious. A loud crash of breaking dishes jolted me awake. "Be careful, you'll wake him." Sylvia's hushed voice reached me. "Shut up, I know what I'm doing," Nicholas growled. "We haven't had decent meat in a month." "What about that old man I brought last week?" "That dry, smelly stuff? Impossible to eat." My heart hammered in my chest. What old man? What meat? Cold terror flooded my veins. I lay perfectly still, listening. "Where's the axe? I left it right here," Nicholas muttered. "How should I know? I don't track your things." I understood everything in that moment. I had to get out. Now. My clothes were piled near the bed. I quietly pulled on my pants and sweater, grabbed my bag, and left the jacket behind. Without boots, I wouldn't make it far, but I had no choice. I stepped into the kitchen trying to look casual. "Sorry, I need the outhouse. Feeling sick." "Go ahead," Sylvia said with a forced smile. I picked up my bag. Nicholas's eyes narrowed. "Why the bag?" "Just habit," I mumbled and headed for the door. His face darkened, eyes flashing with something inhuman. "You're not going anywhere." I yanked the door open and bolted into the night. Behind me came heavy, rasping breathing and the thud of boots. The monster was chasing me. Adrenaline gave me strength. I ran through deep snow, legs pumping. For a moment, the sounds behind me stopped. I risked a glance back and wished I hadn't. The dark figure was only 10 feet away, eyes glowing like two red coals in the darkness. I ran faster, lungs burning, branches whipping my face. I tripped over roots but kept going. The creature was tireless. I reached the ravine and scrambled down, then plunged deeper into the forest. My strength was fading. I knew I couldn't outrun it much longer. Then, ahead through the trees, a flickering light, a campfire. With the last of my energy, I burst into the small clearing where a group of young campers sat near their tents. I collapsed, gasping, unable to speak at first. "Hey man, you okay?" one of them asked. "Guys, there's something behind me," I finally gasped, pointing into the darkness. Some kind of wild animal, like a big cat, maybe a lynx. The young campers looked concerned but skeptical. "A lynx? Out here?" one of the guys asked. Still, they didn't brush me off. A friendly guy named Nick helped me to my feet. "I'm Nick. You look like you've seen a ghost. We'll walk you back to your truck." I was beyond grateful. My legs were shaking, but with Nick beside me, the walk back felt safer. For 40 minutes, we trudged through the snow while he told me about his job, his hobbies, and random stories from his life. I mostly listened, too exhausted to talk much. When my truck finally appeared between the trees, relief washed over me. "Thanks, man. I really owe you," I said, shaking his hand. I pulled out $200 bills, as promised. Nick tried to refuse, but I insisted. "You saved me tonight." We said goodbye, and I climbed into the cab. I drove as fast as the snowy roads allowed. 2.5 hours later, I pulled into my driveway. It was deep night. I quietly entered the house, but Kate was already waiting in the hallway, her face wet with tears. "Walter, what happened?" Nothing bad. The truck had issues. I started, but she cut me off. Walter, you left on the 15th. Today is the 22nd. You've been gone for a whole week. I stared at her phone screen in disbelief. 7 days. Where had I been all that time? I spent the next hour telling her everything. The girl, the cabin, the strange family, the terrifying escape. She listened quietly, but her expression was a mix of worry and doubt. Eventually, she put me to bed. I slept like the dead. When I woke up the next morning, Kate was already in the kitchen. "Morning," I said. "We need to talk, Walter." "Walter, I listened to everything last night," Kate said, her voice trembling. "But I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving you." Her words hit me like a punch. "Leaving?" "Kate, I swear I'm telling the truth. I don't know where you really were for that whole week. Your phone was off. I cried for days, filed a missing person report, called every relative. And now you come back with this crazy story about cannibals in the woods? I can't live like this." I didn't argue. Instead, I grabbed my camera. "I can prove it. Look at the photos I took of their cabin." I opened the last images with full confidence and turned the screen toward her. But what I saw made my blood run cold. Instead of the beautiful fairy tale wooden house with carved shutters and smoking chimney, the photo showed an ancient burned down ruin. Charred logs, a collapsed roof, black empty window frames. Nothing remained of the warm cabin I had seen. The other shots were the same, only a decaying wreck covered in snow. "Walter, are you even okay?" Kate whispered, looking at me with a mixture of fear and pity. I said nothing. I locked myself in the bedroom and spent hours staring at the images. No matter how many times I checked, every photo from that night showed only the burned ruins. Where had I really spent those 7 days? Who, or what, had I met in the forest? Kate left me a few days later. I don't blame her. In her place, I probably would have done the same. The divorce was quick and painful. I tried to fix things, but the trust was gone forever. The new life ahead felt empty. I started seeing friends more often, tried new hobbies, but the camera. I erased every single photo from that cursed day and sold my beloved DSLR for almost nothing. Maybe the new owner will have better luck with it. Sometimes at night, I still hear that little girl's voice in my dreams, and the heavy breathing chasing me through the snow. I will never go into those woods again. Months passed. I tried to rebuild my life without Kate and without the camera, but the nightmares never stopped. Every night, I heard Daisy's sweet voice calling for help, and then Nicholas's heavy footsteps behind me. One evening, while cleaning the garage, I found an old memory card I had forgotten to erase. With trembling hands, I inserted it into my laptop. The photos loaded. There they were again, the same burned ruins. But this time I noticed something I had missed before. In one of the dark window frames, barely visible in the flash, stood a small figure in a red velvet beret. Daisy. Her face was pale, eyes empty. Behind her, 2 taller shadows with glowing red eyes. I zoomed in closer. My blood froze. The date stamp on every single photo was from the previous year. I had never left home that day. Kate had been right all along. Whatever I met in those woods, it had taken an entire week of my life and left me with nothing but ghosts. I never told anyone. Some nights I still wake up to the sound of snow crunching outside my window. I don't go near the forest anymore, and I know it's still waiting.